Hey everybody, Dave Lindberg with another episode of THD Podcast coming to you from Hong Kong. Today on the show we have Mr. Alexander Golding from Alango Technologies, CEO, calling in to tell us about his hearing enhancement technology. And so as always, we have our co-host from Japan, Mr. Simon Weston. How are you today, Simon?
Excellent, Dave. We're cranking it into 2021 over here.
Yes, yeah. So this is for the viewers. We're recording this, our first recording of the new year. So happy New Year, everybody! Yep. And Mr. Golding calling in from Alango Technologies. How are you today?
Thank you. I'm good, and happy New Year to all of us, and healthy New Year.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, as we said off camera, Alex, we met a couple times at different shows, and you're showing slightly different positions that your company partakes in terms of a technology vendor or also a product vendor. So maybe tell us a bit about your company, and then we'll take it from there.
Yeah, sure. So I founded Alango Technologies 20 years ago. To develop a new generation of sound processing technologies for communication. I wanted to help people to communicate, and I can tell that we've been quite successful with that so far. Our technologies, our acoustic echo cancellation, noise reduction, multi-microphone beamforming technologies have been integrated into tens of millions of hands-free car kits, mobile phones, Bluetooth accessories, speaker phones, and other communication products. And we expanded our activities also into audio processing space. And today we even have technologies combining audio and video processing to enhance experience of people watching TV. So, but today I would like to talk about our relatively new activity that we started about 5 years ago, which is our own brand of personalized hearing amplifiers. So, and the question is, why did we do that? And I will answer this question. It's a good Jewish tradition to answer a question with another question. So I will ask you a question. What is the most influential health-related risk factor in midlife for the risk of getting dementia when you get old? And the surprising answer that it's hearing loss. And it accounts for 8% increase in risk factor, which is more than 4 next largest factors, which are obesity, traumatic brain injury, alcohol, hypertension, and actually anything else. So unfortunately, the current status of hearing loss treatment worldwide is quite disappointing. And but let's how big is the problem? How big is the problem of hearing loss worldwide? And actually, it is very serious because 15% of populations have some level of hearing loss. And even more disturbing fact is that 470 million people worldwide suffer from disabling hearing loss. So, and hearing loss is a very serious health and psychological and social factor, because children with hearing loss, they have problems with learning. When they grow up, they have problems getting a job or having a satisfactory wages. And when they become elderly, hearing loss is related to loneliness, social isolation, and as we discussed, eventually dementia. So the good news is 95% of people with hearing loss can be helped by some kind of hearing amplification. And what is the first device that comes to mind when we hear about hearing loss? Of course, these are hearing aids. Unfortunately, the situation with hearing aids is very disappointing because on average, on less than 5% of people worldwide use hearing aids. Even in developed countries, where hearing aids are fully covered by insurance, like Europe, it doesn't exceed 30%. So we need to do something to change this situation, and that's what we boldly decided to do 5 years ago. And the result is today is our wear&hear line of personalized Bluetooth hearing amplifiers. So how are they different from hearing aids? And for that purpose, we need to analyze and understand the problems related to the low penetration rate of hearing aids. And we identified three major problems. One problem is that hearing aids are very, very expensive. You know that a pair of hearing aids in the US, the average cost is about $4,000, which is a huge money, and many people actually hesitate to buy hearing aids. And the second reason that hearing aids are medical devices, and they are associated with being like old or handicapped. So many people, even elderly people, refuse to wear hearing aids. And the third important factor is that hearing aids require professional fitting. So you need to visit an audiologist, make audiogram, and then probably 4 or 5 consecutive visits, and that doesn't guarantee you a good result because well, and it's all good if you live next door to the audiology office, but if you live in Alaska and you need to fly 2 or 3 hours to the audiologist office, and you need to do it 4 or 5 times, it becomes a serious problem. So how our products address these drawbacks, these limitations, I would say. Hearing aids are marvelous devices, no doubt, but they have limitations that we want to address. So first of all, our devices do not look as medical devices. We integrate our hearing enhancement technologies into a stylish, modern-looking consumer electronic devices like Bluetooth headsets or earbuds. Second, our products are self-fitted. So they come with a user-friendly smartphone application, and the user can perform hearing test by him or herself, and after that, all sounds will be customized to his specific hearing loss or hearing preferences. So the third is our devices are affordable. They cost just as a fraction of hearing aids, and they are multifunctional. With our devices, you are not limited to ambient amplification only. You can listen for music, talk over the phone, or any other sound-related activity. So your hearing will be compensated, the device sound will be compensated for all these scenarios. So now let's me be a little bit more technical and explain what is the complexity of hearing loss compensation. And the main problem with hearing loss is that hearing loss is not linear. It's not like I'm putting on me some kind of earmuffs and all sounds are attenuated by the same level. So all I need to do is just to amplify them. The hearing loss affects low-level sounds much more than high-level sounds. Actually, low-level sounds may not be heard while high-level sounds will be heard by a hearing impaired person in the same way like a person with for the person with normal hearing. So our hearing amplification needs to be dynamic. It shall depend not only on the it shall depend on the level of the signal. So we definitely need to amplify low frequency, low level sounds more, and then gradually reduce our amplification and stop it at some level. This is called sound compression by audio industry, and that by itself creates some problems because it actually reduces the dynamic range, increases the noises, as we all know about this audio from basic audio processing knowledge. So the second complication is that it's not hearing loss is different in different frequency ranges. So we actually need to treat every frequency region differently. So that's the second complication. And what we do in our processing, we employ the standard processing that is integrated in any modern hearing aid. So we divide the input signals on a multiple frequency band. We amplify or compress sound in each band individually according to the hearing loss. So, and as I said before, the first step in this process is to estimate the hearing loss of a specific person. As I said, we have an app, and the user plays, this is just the hearing estimation screen of this app, and the user has a slider and changes, well, I need to switch on my speaker. So the user hears kind of wobbling tones. You hear the tones probably, and chooses the level where the tone is just heard. So it's a kind. So that's how we define the hearing threshold. We have a more, and of course we can do it for different frequencies. So when we complete the procedure, the user will actually get his or her audiogram, and that's what audiologists do in their offices. And we did multiple tests, including some cooperation with the University of Ariel here in Israel, that showed that our tests are very, very accurate. Actually, they correspond to the tolerance of standard professionally done tests in the audiologist offices. So after we complete this test, the user gets an audiogram, and then press the button, the parameters, the optimal parameters are automatically calculated, and then they are downloaded into our devices. So after that, we add the noise suppression, we add some beamforming and other technologies that are relevant to hearing compensation or hearing enhancement. And so that's about technologies. Now let me introduce you the products that we have and that integrate all these technologies. So the first product that we developed, it's called Be Here Now, and it's on my head, and it actually looks like a stylish modern Bluetooth headset, very lightweight and convenient, but it actually works as a powerful hearing aid. The second device that we developed is called Be Here Access, and Access is from accessibility, and it was designed for older population with larger control boxes and a charging station. And these larger control boxes, they have big buttons, so they're very convenient for people with dexterity problems. This product also integrates telecoil receivers for venues equipped with induction loops for direct transmission of audio to these devices. We have a mono-oral version, which is called Be Here Business. And why it's business? Because when I'm a client-facing professional, I may not feel comfortable like wearing something like a Bluetooth stereo headset because you may think that I'm actually, not with you and listening for music at the same time. So for these people, we developed this mono-oral device that sits on my ear. And of course, there is no suspicion that I'm now, having a phone call while talking with you and wearing this device. But actually, this is a powerful, again, fully personalizable Bluetooth hearing amplifier. Another product that we have, it's called beHear Proxy, which is a neck speaker. And this neck speaker also has a personalized sound, low latency transmission from the TV. So it's mainly designed as a TV listening system, but it easily converts into a personal sound amplifier by pulling out its earbuds, and then it becomes a hearing aid. So all our products work as TV listening systems when they connect it with our long-range, low-latency Bluetooth transmitter. So that's what we have for today. And we have a lot of plans to enhance our technologies, to develop more. And well, I forgot one thing, that of course, as I said, our devices are multifunctional. That means that they help people not only in live hearing scenarios, but also having a phone conversation, for example. And having phone conversation for people with hearing loss is always a challenge. And again, our hearing enhancement is also applied for phone calls. And we even have a special technology integrated that is called Easy Listen. This technology slows down in real time incoming speech. So the speech is becoming more intelligible, which is, talking, as I said, talking over the phone is very challenging for people with hearing loss. Well, of course, we apply our hearing sound personalization also in media streaming or music listening mode, according to the specific hearing loss. So these are very multifunctional devices that help you hear in all possible situations. One more important thing, that after this personalization is done, the user can adjust it on the fly during the real situation. So you are not limited to what was prescribed to you by our formula, but you can modify it on the fly using the app to fit your preference in a specific environment. Like you can have more noise reduction, you have more directivity, you can change other settings that allow you to adjust what you hear in specific environment. So we've done a lot, but I think that we are still in the beginning, and the number of people with hearing loss is huge. As we said, it's more than 1 billion people who can benefit for such technology. So our plans are huge. We are at the beginning, but we want to grow. Today we are looking for partners. We are open to partnership to companies who want who share our vision and our passion to help people to hear better and have a better life. So thank you very much. That's all that I wanted to say.
Okay,
I'm really curious to find out. So, do you have your own DSP chips in the products? Or there are standalone DSPs?
Yeah, of course. No, we don't have our own DSP.
Sorry, I don't mean that. It's pretty unlikely.
We're a software company with a lot of software technologies that we applied in these products. We call it first generation. This is a very good question. And in this generation, we use a CSR chipset, Bluetooth chipsets. That's what was available 4 years ago when we started developing these products.
Yep.
And today, of course, we are planning to switch to new chipsets with much less power consumption and better Bluetooth performance. And it's a very interesting question because for the one of the reasons hearing aids were dominating in this field of hearing enhancement was that fact that hearing aid companies, the big five, I mean, they all have their own very low power DSPs. And the rest uses probably on semiconductor chips that were also designed for hearing aids. But today the situation is changing because of this very ultra low power new Bluetooth chipsets, and we have them from several manufacturers. And so suddenly you can achieve the same power consumption with the new generation of consumer electronics chips, something that was not possible a few years ago. And of course, we are planning to switch to this new generation very soon.
So you're actually running everything on the Bluetooth chips?
Yes, yes.
Oh, that's interesting. I guess it's been quite a while. You mentioned a 4 years old chip, but even then they were being advertised with quite astonishing capabilities, but nobody could really use it. I mean, it's so complicated, I guess.
Yeah, well, we use CSR with Kalimba DSP inside. It's pretty powerful, but the new generation in that sense is much better because of much lower power consumption.
Right.
And we are planning to use it, but we're also planning to use dual chip solutions where the DSP will be external for really applications that require either much more processing power than can be done on Qualcomm chipsets, or require much less power consumption than can still be achieved with them. Because there is a challenge. I mean, if you have earbuds and like it's running for 7 hours, that's probably enough for you. But if you have a hearing aid, you need to run it during the whole day, which means at least 12 hours, but better 20 hours. With our products today, with this form factor, we run for about 12 hours. But this is on the border, I would say. We need to improve this number.
And so the architecture, system architecture of what you've got, how does it differ from a professional hearing aid? Do you have external sensing microphones, feed-forward microphones, internal microphones too?
Good question. These products integrate 4 microphones. Well, there is no active noise cancellation in this product, because active noise cancellation in some way contradicts the ambient hearing. So there is no active noise cancellation here, but there are 4 microphones. There is 1 microphone in each earpiece, and these microphones are very, very low noise microphones. They are 72 dB SNR microphones, which gives us an excellent noise floor for these devices. And there are 2 microphones in each control box. And we combine the processing of all these microphones. First of all, in hearing mode, this is to improve the directivity. This is to reduce the feedback. And this is to almost eliminate wind noise, which is one of the biggest enemies of hearing aids. And in communication mode, when we do voice communication, we use them to improve the quality of voice communication. So that's about the microphone.
So you guys must be quite intense in terms of the mathematical, theoretical side of it. How do you deal with microphone signals coming from 2 potentially different distances and combine them? I mean,
great question. Well, I'm happy with this question. Thank you. So, it's my passion, so I can talk for hours about that. Excellent. But yes, it's not a traditional, with this type of device, this is not a traditional type of beamforming, because the distances are very high, the large, the positions are very different. But we exploit some acoustic properties of the body, of the head. So we analyzed where the sound is coming from. So it's a kind of beamforming, but it's not a traditional type of beamforming based on phase differences only. We use the phase differences as well, but only in the low frequencies here.
Yeah.
So it's a kind of combined processing that allows us to create this effect due to this all kind of properties of the head and of the body.
That's very interesting. So over the 20 years of all the different things you've done, you must have sort of built up a whole library of essentially computations to do all these things. And then,
well, if you look at our website, you will see really a long list of technologies. And we reused some of our ideas and some of our technologies here in this product. For example, very simple. We have a technology for what is called in-car ICC, in-car communication, like an intercom inside the car, allowing a driver to speak to the rear passengers and vice versa. So basically, it has the same problems like in a hearing aid. You need to be very low delay. You have noises, and you have a very high feedback. Actually, even if the feedback in car, it's over all frequency range, and in hearing aids, it happens probably about 3,000 hertz. So it's not less challenging problem. So of course, we reuse our experience in one field in totally different area. So this technology that analyzes the differences between the between the sound and again caused by the body shading and shading of the head. This experience is I would say quite unique for this application. So although not 100% in our latest addition of technologies, we have technology that's called Voice Defender, and it uses it's for communication. We have two microphones in each headphone, and then we create the beamforming towards the mouse. But this beamforming also utilizes the shading properties of the head, and that allows really achieve much but performance. So yes, our knowledge includes not only just the classical beamforming, but also a lot of non-linear processing that reflects the acoustic properties of our body and our head.
So you also mentioned that you've got the traditional hearing aids where you're sampling noise from outside, compression and spectral adjustment, but you can also do the same thing to incoming Bluetooth audio. How does that work? Is it two different functions, one for the external noises and one for audio stream?
Well, yeah, of course, it's a little bit different processing because let's say, potentially, in principle, if we speak about hearing, it doesn't matter what I hear. Either I hear music outside, and in our product, by the way, we have a special mode that is called live music. And live music mode is different from anything else. It uses in one thing that, first of all, it has much larger bandwidth. So in live music mode, we provide the bandwidth up to 14 kilohertz, and nobody hearing aid can do this. And that's a thank you first for the powerful DSP here, but also for the high quality drivers, speaker drivers here, which again, hearing aids cannot afford because they are very tiny. So that's, but it's a special mode, and potentially there is no much difference, live music or streamed music. But the main difference between them is that in a streamed music, the level of the music, the volume, it's more or less the same. It's comfortable to me. While in live situation, it doesn't depend on me. It depends on the environment. So, but otherwise, there is no much difference, and we apply the same ideas, the same audiogram that we measure to compensate for hearing loss in this scenario as well. So it's basically a similar type of processing, but the parameters are different. In music, you need to be much more linear than in voice processing. So there are differences, but they're not like principal differences.
There's quite a wide scope of theoretical basis that you're working with. One that's the hearing organ, DSP stuff. You've also got how do you develop an audiogram. Another one I'm curious about is how do you go from an audiogram to the parameters that you're dealing with? And the parameters you mentioned, I guess, are related to the compression and spectral or EQing, whatever. What do you call that? I don't know. How do you get from an audiogram to these parameters?
We call the backbone of all this hearing compensation is what is called multi-channel signal processing or multi-channel signal compression. So basically, when we measure audiogram, we measure the hearing threshold. Mm-hmm. And hearing threshold gives us some idea what should be our the hearing loss is the difference between the hearing threshold of hearing impaired people and hearing threshold of normal hearing people. Mm-hmm. So definitely that defines us the maximum amplification. What we need to do to bring the low level sound into hearable range for hearing impaired person. And then we need, when we do this compression curve, we need another point where the hearing impaired person becomes normal. And it eventually becomes normal. And this process is called loudness recruitment, when suddenly the high level sounds, people with hearing loss and normal hearing, they hear them the same. So we need to find this point. We have two ways. There are some theoretical, reasons for that. I would say practical reasons or some user experience about that. But also in our hearing test, we have two modes. We have simple mode, and that's what I showed you with one slider. We have another mode that's called advanced mode, or advanced users. And then they have two sliders. With one, they adjust the hearing threshold. With another, they adjust what is called most comfortable level. So when the tone is most comfortable to them. And we assume that at that level, there should be no additional amplification. This is the comfortable level. So all you need to do then is to make a straight line in decibel, in logarithmic scale between this maximum amplification and this no amplification. So this is the basic principle.
Right. This is all done as a function of frequency too.
Yes, of course, yeah. Of course. It's done separately in every frequency channel. Of course, we have in our products we have different profiles. So we have indoor profile, we have outdoor profile, we have crowd profile, and live music profile. In all these profiles, the parameters are a little bit different because indoor it's quiet and you can hear some maybe very weak, faint sounds. And outdoor, generally street noise and etc. So basically, you are not interested to hear someone 10 meters from you. You are interested in really important sounds, people talking to you from a close distance, a car passing by, something like this. So we have different parameters. And in crowd, it's maybe even more noisy. So we have different parameters. They differ in the compression ratio and some other things. But the principle is more or less the same.
Can I ask a bit more, say, in detail too? You at one level you'll have the mathematics that underpins all of this, and how does the process go? Do you build that in, say, MATLAB, develop whether it's working, and then try and convert it to the various base code they actually use in a DSP? I mean, do you have these intermediary steps?
Well, the algorithms are defined, of course, developed first in a high-level language such as MATLAB. And then, but this is only the first step, because running things in MATLAB is in real time. You can do it potentially, but it's not really very convenient. And then we do the next step, which is C code implementation.
Yeah.
And that's where we test our algorithms using some powerful DSP where we are not limited with optimization and, and other stuff. And then we optimize them, sometimes rewriting them from scratch, like for Kalimba DSP, where you still need to use assembly to code. And that means you need to write everything from scratch. So, so this is generally how it's done. But today we have we have so much code already developed. We have like building blocks. We are not doing it from scratch every time. Sometimes for us to add some new technology may take not such a long time because we have a lot of things already prepared. We just need to combine them in the right way.
Very interesting. I would just imagine, so, it's one thing to utilize some of the functions available in MATLAB to do things, but to implement that in C code or assembly language must be quite a massive task at times.
It's not an easy task, definitely, but we've been doing it for 20 years.
Yeah.
And
I was just kind of leading into that, is the body of work sounds a lot more than just the Bluetooth headphones that you're presenting today. So 20 years the company's been in development. Would it be the history was the development of largely a technology firm, and then gradually the opportunity came about to build products, and so Alango carries on to deliver technology to other partners and on a contract basis, and then wear&hear is your brand outlet to help promote both the brand and the technology?
Thank you for this question. Because actually 5 years ago, we started working in this direction of hearing enhancement. And our first idea was to create a reference design that will allow manufacturers of Bluetooth headsets to include this hearing enhancement functionality into their products. We even call this reference design earphones. And but 5 years ago, it was even published in third-party CSR products catalog. But 5 years ago, large OEMs were not interested in this. Surprisingly to me, they were not interested in this segment. And when we had the technology ready and no big manufacturers interested in that, I said to myself, let's do our product. Let's create our own line of products, because the plastic, the hardware is easy to do. Mm-hmm. The IP, the knowledge that is in the software, that is the key. And so we started working on this line of products, and that's what we have today. The situation is changing today, because that AirPods Pro introduced this functionality like hearing enhancement into the AirPods Pro. They still lack like hearing assessment test and all these things, but they have this, and we see interest from other big vendors, and Bose, of course, is one of them. So things are moving into this area, and one day perhaps today we call these products as concept products. As I said, we are looking for partners to provide help to these hundreds of millions people. And of course, partnership with big companies can help us a lot in doing that. So we are open for that discussion.
Right.
So this is the history. And
yeah, for sure. And it almost seems like you were a bit of a visionary in terms of, did you have a magic ball to see, or crystal ball to see that the FDA was going to make over-the-counter hearing aids an option? Because 5 years ago, nobody knew that was coming. So maybe good luck, or.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say it good luck. I think it's for two reasons. First, I was interested in hearing aid industry for a long time. For the last 20 years, I've been following what was going on there. It was always a surprise to me why hearing aid industry and people and researchers and even people working on DSP technologies and communication industries, they are disconnected. They're just like two different subjects, in spite that they are basically talking about the same. I mean, about the signal processing. That was always a puzzle to me, and I wanted to help people. And that PCAST report that made a bombshell in this area. It was, I think, like about 3 years ago, 90. So, I was very happy to read that, and I was happy that actually all that I was thinking about was included into that report. So I think, yes, I had a good vision about this direction. But we are still in the beginning. We are still in the beginning. As you know, OTC hearing aids category is still not here. And one of the major problems today with promoting these devices is not even technical. It's how to make people to be aware about alternative solutions. As I said, when people become aware about hearing loss, the first thing that they think of is hearing aid. They don't think about alternative to hearing aids. So we need to bring this knowledge to them. That's one thing. Another problem that I wanted to talk actually about, it's how to make people aware about hearing loss. Hearing loss happens gradually. And if you don't hear a sound, it's like doesn't exist to you. If you don't hear birds singing, they do not exist. So you are not aware. It's not like vision. Okay, you don't see the traffic light. You cannot read the book that you could do easily before, right? You have some clue. For hearing, it's much more complicated. So people are not aware. And on average, it takes 7 years before people become aware about hearing loss, and 3 years before they become looking for help. And to help such people to become aware, we developed this, which is a hearing assessment kiosk that people can come and put these headphones and in 10, 15 minutes to make their hearing assessment, which is pretty accurate. So this kiosk is supposed to be placed in pharmacies and waiting rooms of ENT doctors, some public places. So people will just come and just maybe for curiosity to check their hearing. And more than that, after they do this hearing, with exactly the same algorithms as we use in our products, they have a kind of video clip with sound, and they can choose what they hear without amplification, like their natural hearing, and with hearing amplifications that was adjusted to their hearing loss that's been just measured. And they can understand the difference. They can understand what they've been missing. So we hope that will encourage them to look for a solution. Because to look for the solution, you need to feel that you miss something. And that's the reason to develop this product.
Yeah, it's almost like this is the most in-depth answer to the old phrase of if a tree falls in a forest, does anybody hear it? This is
Yeah.
all the details on, well, yes, some people do, some people don't. So it's quite interesting.
So one more little thing, I'm just curious. You mentioned newer Bluetooth chips or other DSPs would have lower power consumption. Is there anything functional-wise that they can do that you can't currently do?
No, no. There is nothing really of new in functional terms. Uh, maybe support for neural networks processing may become interesting, but the problem of utilizing neural networks approach for this hearing enhancement or live hearing enhancements is the requirement for very, very low latency.
What would a neural networks approach mean?
Neural networks, there are some new works, new research today that like do noise reduction based on neural networks approach. So basically, you train the system, the neural network, to distinguish between noise and important sounds.
Oh, I see.
Like wind noise delimitation. I think,
for example,
yes. Sonia in Denmark was doing a lot of work in that space to.
Well, a very good example of neural network noise reduction is it's called CRISP algorithm. They do a really very, very good job and you can use the plugin with Zoom or Skype or anything, and it can run on PC or Mac. The problem is that it requires really FPU and gigahertz, and so it's not for this type of devices. And of course, latency is not when we speak about hearing enhancement, all we allowed in our signal processing algorithms is probably like 5 milliseconds latency. So which is also a big challenge. And but eventually we may find application for this application as well. But as for now, the main challenge is the power consumption and the processing power and power consumption. So they are still, but I hope that there are some startup semiconductor companies working on this super ultra low power chipsets, and I hope that they will really raise the bar in this application.
So anyway, let's say that someone wants to implement the technology in their own product. They want to license your technology. What would the process be? I mean, how difficult would it be to build the acoustic systems, etc.?
The acoustics is not a big issue here. So we believe that, okay, of course, you need very low noise microphones, pretty good speaker drivers, but that should not be an issue. So
put it this way: there's no huge constraint on distance between microphones and air canal, things like that.
If you want to do beamforming, then it's the same like like with true wireless earbuds.
Right.
Basically, the sound wavelengths dictates the distance. So it should be about 20 millimeters, 15 millimeters. So there is no difference here. There are some challenges here.
If you go under this 20 or millimeters, you're just starting to truncate the high frequency range. Is that right?
No, if you go below or above.
Below. So you have very small earbuds. You just can't separate the
Yeah.
microphones.
So actually, that actually improves your the 20 with 20 millimeters. You can go up to 8 kilohertz, more or less.
Mm-hmm.
If you reduce the distance, you can actually go further.
Right. You're reducing the low end effectiveness.
Yeah.
There's
But
no difference.
the problem with low distance, with small distance, is not the frequency range. The problem is the tolerance of the microphones and the signal to noise ratio, because the phase difference is becoming too small.
Yes.
So and phase error. So even phase error of 1 degree, which is a big challenge for microphones at low frequencies, is becoming critical already.
Yes, I see.
So that's the main challenge.
So those things aside, it could potentially be a drop-in technology.
What do you mean? You mean what we do?
So to implement the hearing enhancement technologies, I have headphones, I've got microphones, I've got the Bluetooth.
Yeah, of course. As I said, we will be happy to cooperate with companies that can advance this hearing enhancement better than we do, because we are still small. We are in the beginning. Yep. But I can say that this, for one of the reasons I believe that big OEM were not interested in that 5 years ago, was that it's not just you integrate this functionality into your product. You need to advertise this functionality. You need to support these customers. And these customers are different. If you orient your product on young generation who don't care about hearing loss, at least in terms of the hearing enhancement, then and you advertise them some audio-related features, then advertising this device as a hearing enhancement may actually harm your sales, because it's not only technological subject. It's a business related and marketing related subject.
Yeah, it's the stigma associated with hearing aids. Like we've said it several times on this podcast before, that there's a 7-year gap between when people notice hearing loss and when they do something about it. But now if we have something like wear&hear or AirPods that make that feature or something holding that feature cool, then it's less of a stigma for people to adopt it. And then who knows, it could become, hey, I'm cyborg, I've got advanced hearing, and then now all of a sudden it's a whole different marketing play, kind of like recreating the coffee like a Starbucks has.
Well, as I said in the beginning of my presentation, there is also a kind of anti-aging effect related to treating hearing loss early. So, and these devices are perfect for what we call situational hearing. That means I have a good hearing. I mean, for my age, I don't have any problem. I can communicate over the phone with you live, whatever. I don't need hearing aids. But when I'm attending some seminar on some lecture, I still benefit from using this, because it makes sound much crisper to me, much better, much more intelligible. I don't need to apply any efforts to understand. So and that means these devices are perfect for situational hearing. So if the functionality is already there, I don't need to think if I need to buy it or not. I just need to switch it on and enjoy, and it's on my neck or on my ears anyway. So that is a kind of and that may help people to avoid consequences of untreated hearing loss.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, and I know myself personally that talking like this is no problem, but add the noise floor of a restaurant or a pub or something like this, and I'm constantly straining to hear people. So yeah, it sounds like It's just a matter of probably, and well, this is personal opinion, is getting that champion brand that changes the market opinion. And it sounds with your body of work that it's not just going to happen by chance for you. You've got a generation of effort here and knowledge that can make it very quick to market for a lot of players. So I guess people can contact you. We'll put your contact information below. But would you have anything else you'd like to ask, Simon?
No further questions, Your Honor.
Okay, Alexander. So we'll get your social media contacts. We'll put them in the information below, and we encourage everybody to put questions down in the comment field, and of course subscribe, like, and share this video if you enjoyed it today. So Alexander, anything else you'd like to add before we say goodbye?
No, just thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you.
I also enjoyed very much this talk because we, besides some general information, we were talking about really technical and professional stuff, and I'm always happy to do so. So thank you very much, and Happy New Year again.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Bye, everybody.
You too.